Today, Russ will not be here. He has gone on before us to begin subjugating the local population. Wait, no, guys. You put up the world domination plan. Hang on, we're getting it right. Hang on. Oh, wait. Okay, here's the right one. Today, Russ is not here. He's out doing great public things or something like that. But I am here, and we're going to look at more demos of how to use Wireshark to find things for fun and profit legally. Stay tuned.
This is a Security Weekly production.
Welcome to Secure Digital Life. And you type in AAA porn or whatever it is you're typing in. I'm sorry. I was at a PG show.
And I'm really excited to be here.
I'm glad you're here because somebody needs to know what's going on.
That's right.
Okay, so
now somebody has to drink this.
I think it's another day. It's another episode.
Yeah, he's looking at the wrong camera. You
put my camera over here. Cut. Basically, forget you ever saw that. I think actually forgetting you ever saw that would really be a good idea at this point. Oh, yeah. Secure Digital Life. It's me. It's Doug. Today I've got Creepy Doug in the Secret Underground Lab who's going to show us some things too. But first, coming right up, Providence HackCon is on Saturday in downtown Providence at Roger Williams University and the Providence Public Library. And if you'd like to come, if you'll tweet at me or email me, I'll see if I can sneak you in the back door or something like that. So let me know if you're interested in that. We got a bunch of good speakers. We've got Cyber Range with the Rhode Island National Guard. We've got Congressman Langevin. We got all kinds of stuff going on down there. So if you think you might want to check it out, be sure to let me know. It's on Saturday. All day, pretty much, in Providence. Next week, Russ and I are both going to be, if you can believe it, in South Dakota. My mother said, is that like, do you need a passport to go there? And I was like, yeah, I don't think so. But it sort of seems that way. But we will be at the Wild West Hackin' Fest next week. So you should definitely, if you're going to be there. I heard they're having like a lot of expensive room problems. They were saying that some places were renting rooms for $700 a night. And I'm like, yeah, surely not. But who knows? I know the thing is kind of sold out. So if you don't already have tickets, well, boo-hoo. And but again, come by. We'll see what we can work out for you if you want to sneak in or something like that. Maybe, we can block the fire door open or something fun like that. But today on Secure Digital Life, we have been sort of going through the product Wireshark for the last couple of shows, showing you how you can use it, how you can get that, and why you should be using it. Today, Creepy Doug, who is in the underground lab waiting for my beck and call to do my bidding, is going to show us how to actually pull some data out of Wireshark using very, very simple techniques, which don't involve anything at all other than being able to right-click your mouse. So I'm going to cut over to Creepy Doug in the underground bunker. He doesn't know Russ isn't here either. You should watch and see. He's going to say, hi, Russ. Okay, here we go. Thanks, Doug and Russ. I knew you'd get around to me eventually. So I'm here in the secret lab, and we're going to look at a little bit of Wireshark today. I know that Russ showed you some Wireshark last time, and Wireshark is a super cool product that you'll definitely like fooling with. And one of the things that Wireshark can do for you is let you learn what things look like in TCP/IP on your network. And when you're trying to figure out what's going on, it's kind of handy to be able to do some different tricks. And I'm going to first look at a very simple capture. And in that capture, I'm gonna open this this file. Now, I got these captures, and you can make your own captures. Obviously, I went and grabbed some captures from the wiki. So if you go to wiki.wireshark.org, which is really hard to say, I'm not even going to try. Wiki.wireshark. Yeah, okay. But if you go there, they have all kinds of different samples of different types of captures, packet captures, so you can take a look at what those things are like and get a feel for what you're seeing. And I want to show you a couple of things here on this particular one. Russ kind of walked you through last week what Wireshark looks like and some of the different features of it. I want to show you how to use it even more so now, but I do want to point out one key thing here. This thing right here, so there's 3 packets right here at the beginning of this, and you see it goes from 2 to 1 and 1 to 2 and 2 to 1 again. And this is a SYN packet. And if you don't know what a SYN packet is, go back to the TCP we talked about these things a couple of weeks ago. A SYN-ACK, which is the response to a SYN packet, and another ACK packet, which is a response to the SYN-ACK. And this thing right here is called the three-way TCP handshake. And it's really important. I mean, I've seen people get asked this stuff on interviews and all kinds of things, but this is basically where you're going to be trying to figure out where something started. So this is the beginning of a TCP-based connection from the machine 0.2 to the machine 0.1. And so all the rest of the conversation here is actually included in this. But the thing I want to show you in this particular conversation is Telnet. Now, I know that last week on the show, they talked about Telnet and how Telnet was sent in the clear. I'm going to actually show you that that is indeed the case. Now, in this particular case here, you can actually right-click on things in Wireshark. And Wireshark, and there's all sorts of filtering, there's all sorts of marking and all sorts of things you can do here. But one of the things that's really handy to be able to do is follow. And when you start with a packet or any packet in a stream, so I'm just clicking on different ones here, you can actually follow that TCP conversation by right-clicking and choosing follow and pick that TCP stream right out of the packets that are there. And Wireshark will dump that into some sort of format so that you can actually see what it looks like. And we'll go back and look at some of the packets in a minute so you can see what it took to put this together. But this is a very good example of what happens when things are sent in the clear. If you look at this, you can actually see that there is a username and there is the password for this particular thing. You can see in the background where I'm dragging over this stuff on this screen that it's selecting the packets where that's coming from. I mean, you see it happening in the background, so watch, I'm going to do it again. See me drag over that, and then I drag over this, and you can see the packets getting chosen there in the background. All of this is what is in those packets, including the password. This wasn't a crack. It wasn't me doing some kind of sophisticated attack. It was basically just sniffing these packets and looking at the traffic. And Wireshark is good enough to reassemble all this for you and put it back together so you can see exactly what it looks like. Now, there's always stuff that's being sent. Like you can see wire speeds up here. You can see some other information stuff that's being sent. You can see the operating system that's displayed. This is what they would see on their screen. And then you see them actually run a ping. And one thing I'll point out to you, a lot of fields in TCP and in this display are being doubled. And the reason is because it's showing you both the send and the receive. And this is due to the way that things are displayed on the screen. And the password, and this is the password, was not displayed, right? It's blank on the screen. That's why you see the actual password here. But you see the username, FFAAKKEE. The username is fake, FAKE, and the password is user. If you look on down here, all the things that are being displayed on the screen, this is what they typed. sben ping www.yahoo.com. And then you see the things that are only displayed and not also typed, and you see the exit type down here. It's all doubled. That's just the nature of the conversation. But if we go back up here, we can actually take, I'm going to close this now. I can show you in the actual packets where this stuff is going on. And if you look, not very much data is being sent in any given packet because these are pretty small packets that are being sent. But you can actually see, and the ones we're interested in are the ones being sent from one. So it would be like this, like these that say data on them. Like here's a data packet, a data packet. And it's really hard to figure out what's going on because it's just sending a small amount of data at a time. But look right there. You can actually see that displayed information there. And this is what people used to look for. And you're not always getting, it's not always obvious. You kind of have to plan. You can see pieces of this. USER. You can, and then there's other fields here that are being sent along with that. But those are the key things in that packet structure right there. And you can see that R, a 72 in hex, is being sent. And so basically, you could go through this, and you could write a piece of code, so you could write your own program to do this, and that would work. You could do it manually like we're doing here, which would take you forever. And remember, this is a nice clean capture. If we had hundreds of users on this network, we would have tens and hundreds of thousands of packets here we would have to sort through. So that's why when you actually choose something like this, if you can just get to it directly, and you can do it from any point in there, you can just choose follow TCP stream, and boom. Wireshark actually goes in there and rebuilds it for you, and you can see the whole thing. You just have to take a little bit of caution about reading it. I actually had somebody ask me that in forensics once. They said, like, so the username is, is like, and I'm like, no, it's doubled because it's being typed and it's being sent. So to display it on the screen, you see it again. So when they type it, then it's also displayed. That's why you see that twice right there. But it's all there, and this is why in the clear protocols are so dangerous, and you must use SSH instead of telnet. So that's one example that we have there. A second example, I'm going to find one for you here. This one. So this is another one right here that's an example of, once again, if we look, we can see the three-way handshake. So you see sends, SYN-ACK, ACK. And that's from 101 to 1, and then 1 replies, and then 101 sends one more ACK back to say, yes, let's do it. And once that completes, this is actually a web request that's being sent out. And you see this GET statement that's sent here. So GET HTTP is something you could literally type at a command line and get this information. And it's kind of messy. As you can see down here, it's hard to read. It's hard for humans to figure out what's going on there. But all that data is going to come streaming back from 101. And it's going to come back in a series of pieces of, actually, I'm sorry, let me clear something out up here because we're not getting all the data. Send, SYN-ACK, SYN-ACK, get, then here's the reply where it begins. This is an ACK for it, and then here comes the text. So this is where you actually see this conversation start to happen. So you see the GET request here, then here's the actual HTTP coming back from the server. And so it's starting to stream a lot of web information. You actually see there /BODY, which is a /HTML/BODY/head, and all the reference and all that information is hidden in there. It's not even hidden, you can get it. And then you see this FIN-ACK, and the FIN-ACK is just letting you know that they're done with the stream, and then your machine acts and says, yeah, okay, I got it, we're good. And then more of these things are going to go on. In the context of this, a lot of stuff is being sent down to this local machine. Once again, I can do a follow on this if I want to, and I can follow the TCP stream, and we'll actually see what was received here. We see a lot of stuff. We can see the what was being used to get this. You can see some of the operating system information. You can see various settings on this. You can see the date that this was retrieved a long, long time ago, probably before you were born. You can see the version of Apache that was being used on Red Hat Linux. You can see everything that was the setup for this. And then here's the actual web page itself that was being dumped down onto this machine. So a lot of information in that particular stream. When I'm done with it, I'm going to clear that filter so that I'm not seeing all that stuff again. Other information is being sent at the same time, and we can start flipping through here looking for, and there's all kinds of different tools you can use, but this is small enough I can actually flip along here and probably find a website that they ask for and show you something interesting. Maybe this is a request for something, and this would, all these requests and things are being generated by the browser or the web page itself, maybe sending these requests. So here's another HTTP send. Here's a GET. I'm just looking through this. I don't actually know what's in this web page. I'm trying to find you something interesting to see. I see, ooh, I do see something there. Look at that. I see a JPEG in there. Did I get a JPEG here somewhere? I'm pretty sure this one's got some JPEGs in it because it actually says JPEGs. Let's see if we've got some JPEGs coming in line here somewhere. I'm guessing we do at some point. Oh, there it is. Look right there. I see one. That looks like a JPEG to me. I can actually see it. I can see the request, I think, for a JPEG here. Is that, yeah, see the request? That was the GET command, so it actually is getting a JPEG. Here's another GET a JPEG. So this is the website itself requesting. So as you download the browser's sending requests for the various things that are put on the page. We can actually get these things here pretty easy. There's look, a spider. It's like, can you see it? I'm going to put it right up with the camera. You can see it. And see, it was just go over there for a while. I can actually get a lot of these things out of Wireshark by following the HTTP stream. And if I pull this up, I can actually see this JPEG right here. You see this thing right here? This is JFIF. That's a header. And JFIF is a header for a JPEG. So what follows this is the JPEG itself. And it looks like garbage because it's all binary. So I don't need that. Now I can do a couple of things here. I could literally just drag over this and copy it out and paste it into a photo editing tool, and I can probably get the JPEG. But you know what? I bet I got another way to do it, if I can remember how to do it. I bet you I can export objects. Yeah. So I did file export objects, and it shows me every object that's in this TCP stream. And one of those objects, if I look a little bit, I see there's the one I was looking at. Here's another one. You can only do one at a time. But let's just export Sydney for now. All right, I'll do this one. That's the first one I saw. And when I do that, I can actually save that off somewhere. And I'm going to save it right here into my folder on my drive. And I'll save Sydney as well, just for funsies. And we'll save that one off. And you can choose, the type will be fine. It'll come out as a JPEG. And once I do that, I could literally open a window and go, of course, I know where I put that stuff. Let me find it now. Where is it? There it is. And here's this JPEG. And it's not a very exciting JPEG. Is that dirty? I'm kidding. Do you see dirty images in there? Oh, I do. I hope it's not real. I'm kidding. I don't think. But here's a picture of this Sydney JPEG. So I was literally able to capture a file that was sent in the clear out of the data stream that is embedded in this Wireshark capture. And so if you were doing that at a company, you could literally do that. And you see, you can actually export the index.html page if you want to capture that. You can export a lot of other stuff. These are some ads, I think, that are embedded in there. Some other text. Wow, there's like 3 more JPEG images. All that's in this one stream of TCP that we were looking at. And basically that's what happens when somebody goes to a web page. So if all that data is being sent in the clear, which it typically is, you could literally capture what someone was looking at on the internet. And sometimes people think that's a little creepy. I will warn you once again, and I'm sure Doug and Russ have warned you, and probably warned, I know that Doug and Russ warned you last week, that this is essentially wiretapping, and it's a federal offense. So don't do this to your friends, don't do this at school, don't do this at your place of employment unless you have permission to do so. But it's easy enough to set up your own Wireshark tests with either VMs or at home or in your company that you control. You could set this up and monitor certain things. We have used this to monitor employees before inside of a company with permission of the company. We were trying to see what someone was doing, and we were literally tracking. And of course, you can filter by IPs. So we actually filtered our captures by that person's IP address, and we're capturing that person gambling online. We didn't realize we were going to get the person's username and password to PokerStars, but we did. But bottom line is, you can see a lot of stuff there. Let's look at one more before we go. Just because it's so cool, I'm going to show you this last one, if I can get it to work. This is a little trickier. What this is this is a SIP conversation. And SIP is a protocol for voice over IP. So this is what's used for telephones. And when you grab SIP calls like this, I think this one works, you actually can analyze the packet capture that contains SIPs by doing telephony. And you see this option up here, and you can actually go hit VoIP calls. And it will go through the packet structure and find a SIP call right there. And you can see that this is the IP address of the telephone. And this thing was going out on a SIP transaction. So this is more like a Skype call. It's not Skype, but it's something like that. And you see that the address it was going to. Now, sometimes you'll see these. I'm going to show you another one in a minute. It's got a telephone number right here. You can get the telephone numbers from that. And those kind of things can actually be pretty interesting indeed. If we choose to play the streams, it actually will convert this into a file that can be played. And I'm going to actually play it for you right here. And here we go.
Okay. Por el Atlas, obviamente. Por la otra. Ah, ya ves, eso sí se escuchó, ¿verdad?
Now you see you're only getting half the conversation.
Bueno, sí te escucho bien.
In Spanish, I think.
Sí, yo te escucho. 05. ¿Cuál estamos probando?
Yeah, I think that's Spanish.
05.
I think. I don't know what he's saying, but I have to get a translator.
Okay.
And then here's the other half of the conversation.
Por el Atlas, obviamente. Bueno, sí te escucho bien. Ah, ya ves, eso sí se escuchó, ¿verdad?
I heard Soyamente and es guess I heard cinco.
0005.
Yeah, he was given a number there. 0005. Cool, huh? And you can do that with all sorts of transactions. I'm going to open one more file to show you here. This one was a Magic Jack, which is a kind of Vonage, Magic Jack. There's all kinds of these services out there in the world. And again, you see a lot of other stuff going on here, but basically you see these exchanges start to happen on the screen. I can actually see a Magic Jack destination there from this Cisco setup. And this is a Cisco phone using a Magic Jack, I think. And basically you're seeing all these transactions come together. I'm going to run telephony again. Here's my call. You can actually see the telephone number that was dialed, 905-555-1212. So it's obviously it's a setup, but this is the actual I don't know if I can play this one or not. Oh yeah, there it is. Let's see what it sounds like. I've never played this. I hope it's not dirty. Phone ringing.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1. And you're hearing both sides of it here. They sort of collapsed all this together. There's many ways you can filter this stuff into all kinds of cool things. I'm going to turn this back to Doug and Russ. Check out Wireshark. Thanks, guys, for having me. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you, Doug. I really appreciate you doing such a dramatically good job and being so supremely sexy while you're doing it out there. So basically, with Wireshark, and I didn't show you anywhere near all the things you can do. You can grab files, you can grab data, you can grab text, you can grab all these things out of the data stream as Wireshark captures packets on a live network, which, like Doug warned you, can be a little bit dicey in terms of what you're doing legally. So you do have to be a little bit careful about practicing with it. But the wiki has tons and tons of stuff. I put links to all those files and the wiki on the show notes, so you can actually get that if you want to play with it. And there's many, many other file types, features, and things available in Wireshark. So you should definitely learn this tool and start learning to experiment within your network. Next week, Doug and Russ, he's actually going, Doug and Russ are going to get up before the sun and fly to South Dakota, and we will do the show from somewhere in the absolute middle of nowhere in South Dakota, which apparently is a really cool place to be. We'll find out, but we're going to go there next week. I hope you will tune in then. We'll try to come up with something cool to do from there. Maybe we can get backstage at the casino or something. I don't know. They probably won't let us, but who knows? You never know what you can talk people into if you show enough Security Weekly cards or give them free T-shirts from Hack Naked News. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Secure Digital Life.